Do you feel drawn to, or are you maybe curious about how it is to work with the Akashic Records? Does it require a specific skill set or maybe specific gifts to access and work with the Akashic Records? Or are only specific people allowed to really access the Akashic Records for guidance and insights? Well, in this video today, I want to shed some light onto the question, can anyone access the Akashic Records for guidance and insights and personal growth? Because the Akashic Records, it's truly a beautiful place and tool and resource to work with. And the short answer of can anyone access the Akashic Records is actually yes. A very big and loud yes. Yes, anyone can and has the ability to access their very own Akashic Records, and here is why. Because the Akashic Records, it's your soul's library of all lifetimes. So it's part of you. It's not like it's somewhere else or it belongs to anyone else. No, it is yours. You have access to your own Akashic Records. You just have forgotten. You already have that connection because, like I said, it is part of you. It is part of your soul. It is your soul's library of all lifetimes. You also don't need to be psychic or highly intuitive or anything like that. You don't need to have any specific gifts to access and work with the Akashic Records. The only thing that is truly required to work with the Akashic Records is a willingness, a readiness, and an openness. Because the biggest challenge that you may experience when you're working with the Akashic Records is overcoming your ego. And that's what needs to be put aside in order to receive the clear guidance and receive the answers that you're looking for. So that's why it only requires an openness, a willingness, and a readiness to do this beautiful work, to open yourself up to receiving the guidance, the insights, and then also to trust the guidance that you're receiving. And that's where I find that most people are really most challenged with is receiving the guidance. And that's really because of the ego, because their ego is too much in the driver's seat and that's blocking the guidance. But yes, everyone and anyone can and has the ability to access their own Akashic Records. Now, accessing the Akashic Records, it's also a learned skill. Now, yes, you already have that connection, but maybe your human self doesn't remember, you're not remembering how to access your Akashic Records. But it is a learned skill. You can learn how to access your Akashic Records, how to effectively work with the Akashic Records for guidance, for insights, for healing, for transformation, for discovering, for all of those beautiful things that you can do within the Akashic Records. It is a learned skill. And if you would like to learn how to access and work with your own Akashic Records, I want to invite you to join me in a free 6-day journey where I will teach you in detail of how to access and work with your Akashic Records to start receiving the clear and accurate guidance. I will also help you how to overcome your ego, because that is most likely going to be a challenge that you will be challenged with. So if that is of interest to you, if you would love to learn how to work with your own Akashic Records, there's a link in the description below. You can sign up and get started right away with the very first lesson of learning how to access and work with your own Akashic Records. But let's talk about why many may not be able to access the records. Because like I said, it's not that it is something outside of you, that it belongs to someone else, none of that. And everyone can and has the ability to access the Akashic Records. However, not everyone is able to for numerous reasons. And that's usually because whether they're simply not ready for that kind of work, because like I said, it requires a readiness. Because when it comes to accessing the records, it is like a way of surrendering yourself to doing this work. And if a person is not ready for this deep surrendering to this higher guidance, they may simply are not ready, or maybe they just don't believe in that either. But every single person has the ability to access their own Akashic Records, because like I said, it's part of them. But if they're not ready, if they're not willing, if they're not open to it, then they're not. Or even if they don't believe that they can, if they're believing that accessing the records only is reserved for very special people, very highly intuitive and psychic people, then of course they're not willing or ready to access the records either. Or they may just really be most challenged with their ego, with receiving the guidance, because their ego is too much in the driver's seat, really blocking the guidance or even blocking them from actually accessing the records. Or they simply just don't know. So I really hope that I inspired you to really believe that yes, you can. If you feel called to, or you're just feeling, drawn to working with the Akashic Records or learning more about the Akashic Records, just know that this is your soul nudging you into that direction, that yes, you're meant to learn this. You're meant to learn to work with the Akashic Records. You have that ability, right? So if you're watching this, then I'm pretty sure, I'm very certain that you are meant to work with your own Akashic Records. And like I said, if you would like to learn, join me in my 6-day journey. I will teach you how to go about this. Because it is absolutely beautiful when you start working with your very own Akashic Records. You will never not know an answer to a question that you have. Any question that you have as it relates to you, you can always find that answer within your Akashic Records. And the beautiful thing is, when you work with the Akashic Records, it strengthens your ability to channel. It strengthens your intuitive gifts as well. So you're actually developing your gifts more as you're working with the Akashic Records. So it's truly a beautiful journey to start when you work with the Akashic Records. But just know that even if you're having doubts right now, allow yourself to let go of the doubt, because you have been led here to watch this video for a reason. So you already have the ability to work with your Akashic Records. You may just really need a framework, the step-by-step process of how to best go about it. And I will teach you that in that challenge if you would like to join me. Like I said, link is in the description below. But I'm curious to know from you, have you actually ever worked with your Akashic Records? Have you ever had somewhat of an experience or tried it? Because there's so many things out there. Maybe you have listened to a meditation, because I'm pretty sure there are many guided meditation here on YouTube. Have you maybe tried that? And I would like to know, what was your experience? Were you able to actually access your records, and were you able to maybe receive guidance? I'm curious to know. Leave me a comment below and let me know. While you're at it, maybe hit the like button if you enjoyed this video so far. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the notification bell. And also, thank you so much for being here, for allowing me to share this with you, because working with the Akashic Records has really changed my life. And that's why I felt so excited to bring these Akashic Record topics to you, to inspire you, hopefully, to start this journey as well, because your life can truly change once you start working with the Akashic Records. So thanks so much for being here. Now be sure to check out this video here. It's a step-by-step process of how to access your Akashic Records, so you can get somewhat of a taster of how to work with the Akashic Records. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, make an amazingly abundant, joyful day. Namaste.